You're listening to S2E8 FM, and it's a very good morning to you. And Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to Coach Zaid. Welcome back to S2E8 FM.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi. Yeah, always good to be back. I'm just not sure why I'm back here today because I think someone else should probably be getting the flack on this one.
Yes, and you are the willing lamb to the slaughter. Yes, what is our topic today?
Oh, we're going to talk about women in society and how it is that they shape things around us.
Why? Why are we talking about this today?
Well, you promised them last week that we're not going to be choosing sides, right? So last week we dug into men.
Yes.
I think both positive and not so positive stuff. Because we're not negative around here, right?
Yes, absolutely. Positive vibes only. So the role of women in society has evolved, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or has it?
I don't think the role has evolved. I think the impact of the role has evolved.
Mm-hmm.
The role is still the role, and in the absence of that role, we're just going to see the impact of it. We're not going to see that something else is now going to fill its space because there's a natural balance that exists, and as long as we go against the natural balance, we're going to experience the dysfunction that comes from that.
Mm-hmm.
So when we say the role of women has changed, I don't know, someone needs to tell me how that supposedly changed, because if it changed, that means we strike a new balance in society. And if I look around me, we don't have balance. So, the role hasn't changed. It's just how it is that we're showing up in our roles, men and women, that has changed.
Would you say it's evolved?
Nah.
You don't think so?
This whole thing of evolution and evolving and all of that, I think there's a certain level of adaptation that we go through. Relative to contemporary kind of realities and times, right? But how it is that we need to show up in that space still has to be shaped by how we choose to show up. The space shouldn't define how we show up.
Mm-hmm.
So if we don't have an idea of what we want to get out of that space or how we want to impact that space, then we're going to be defined by society and by changing times and by technology and all of these things. And then we're going to say, no, we have to adapt. No, you have to make sure that you influence what you believe is valuable in that environment.
And that's just the thing. Would you say that things have changed? You know, people say things have changed and it's demanded that we also change. We rise to meet the expectation of the time or the demands of the time. It's not enough for women to just be at home anymore. They want a sense of fulfillment. They want a sense of balance. They want to, they want to be active in their communities in different ways.
How many women feel fulfilled? With all this adaptation, all the affirmative action and all of the quotas and everything else, how many women feel fulfilled? And I'm asking that question very deliberately because there's a difference between feeling fulfilled versus believing that you have an opportunity to make a difference or have impact or be taken seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Fulfillment is very different to success. Thousands or millions of people who are successful but they're unfulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we looking for? What are we chasing? Are we chasing fulfillment? Are we chasing success, tokens of success, social validation, social stature? What are we chasing?
Mm-hmm.
And if we say that times have changed and we need to adapt, then who is changing those times?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how we then become kind of victims to the influences, right? The people that dictate that this is now cool, and we say, okay, no, we have to do that because we want to be cool.
Absolutely.
Then what's the point of you having the ability to influence those around you if you're just going to follow the trends?
And I think that's so important. What does having it all look like now? And how much of pressure it puts on females?
Yes. And if there's anyone who thinks that there is a defined state, like that there is a definition for what having it all looks like, you are horribly, severely, catastrophically distracted from the reality of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that in the strongest terms, because there is no one that can come to you and tell you this is what having it all should look like in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Because your life is not their life. So just because other people are doing it a certain way doesn't mean you have to do it that way, or doesn't mean that if you don't do it that way, you're not going to be respected, you're not going to be looked up to, or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you? What is it that you want to leave as a legacy or as an impact on the people around you, on the society around you?
Mm-hmm.
Why are we so driven by what other people think?
And it's like it leads to my next question, is that in the workplace Do you feel that women, in your opinion, have to work harder to have a say at the table? Is there still a sense of like a gender inequality thing happening?
I think in a workplace, this is not being safe. I genuinely believe this. In a workplace where women have to work harder to have a say at the table, it just reveals the immaturity and lack of vision of the leadership in that workplace, right? So if you find you in a workplace that is bigoted and not merit-based, right? It's not based on meritocracy. It's based on tokenism, based on stereotypes, based on affirmative action quotas, right? If that is the primary driver in your workplace, then you're in the wrong workplace. Because what are you there for? Are you there to add to the bottom line, to the value of the organization you're working for? Or are you there to be respected for your place in society, for your gender, for your role, for your stature? And most leaders in these businesses, they lose sight of that. It becomes a personal kind of kingdom that they want to run according to their own personal bigoted values or prejudiced views or things like that. And for the most part, the environments, the organizations that thrive, that genuinely thrive, not bottom line kind of profiteering, that genuinely thrive are the ones that don't see people through those stereotypes.
Absolutely. And, females have made significant strides in various fields, research, and have really, really created benchmarks. So, yeah, I agree that, it boils down to the culture and the leadership of the organization or the company that you are working for. But now, how does this whole new, because if you compared maybe our grannies' times, maybe 80s, 90s, the early 90s, right? The role of females then and now, like, how is it different? How has it changed in your opinion?
I think our social expectations and desires and aspirations have changed. Times haven't changed. We've changed.
Yeah.
Right? And that's something that I will fight tooth and nail about, is that we define the times we live in. We don't get defined by the times we live in. And the more people are victim to the times they live in, the more they're part of the problem. Right? So if we on a slippery slope into an abyss, and everyone is saying, hey, it's a slippery slope, but everyone's getting onto it, so we need to get onto it, then you're part of the problem.
Yeah.
So you can't look around you and say society is like this and society is like that, while you completely give up your accountability for your contribution towards your society. And that contribution starts with how you show up in your family unit. So I think I'm risking going back into our feminism discussion, right? Because that's the whole thing, is that if you look back in history, yes, in bigoted environments, in prejudiced environments, in environments that were shallow as far as social cohesion and understanding was concerned, women had to prove themselves to be equal to or better than men or something just to get some recognition. But that was the problem of that environment. It wasn't a social narrative that was adopted globally. And then that became the big narrative that everyone adopted, because now, oh, look how cool they are, look how successful they are, look how they can go toe-to-toe with a man. But there's a lot of things that men can never go toe-to-toe with a woman about. And we lose sight of that. So the more you want to operate in a man's world, the more you lose yourself to a man's world. And similarly, if a man wants to operate in a woman's world, we see it happening where men lose themselves to being more efficient in a woman's world, or more proficient, or more effective, or more influential.
Yeah, I really want to go back to what you said about women wanting to go toe to toe. In a man's world. What's prompted that? Why? Why is it that women have felt the need to go toe to toe with men in a man's world?
I think at some point we adopted this ridiculous notion that what men do is more important than what women do. So automatically, because we've diminished the value of the homemaker and the nurturer so much, we've devalued it. Not that it's not a valuable role, we've devalued it.
Yes.
Because of that, we now think that what men do is more important. It isn't. There would be absolutely no purpose for men if there wasn't something good to protect and to support and show up for at home.
So, it brings me back to, the cultural expectations as well,
Mhm.
right? Because
Now we can talk patriarchy and
Yes.
matriarchy and misogyny and all of that.
I just think back to why is it that role was diminished? Because that is the homemaker. I mean, you are like, why is that seen as, there's this saying, you at home the whole day. How can you be tired? Or
Right.
there's this I don't know if you understand, in
Yes.
our culture, this is what we hear. Common things. You at home, you at home.
You
There's
can take
that
a nap when you
judgment.
want. And you can
You're
do
so
this and
lucky you can
yeah.
be at home.
Mm.
What do you do the whole day?
Until you get a man who wins custody of his children, you realize suddenly how difficult it is to be at home all day, raising children, right? Or taking care of the home, or making sure that things are okay and efficient and available for the men in the home, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. This diminishing of the value of each role is just ridiculous. And when you get a man who says, "Yeah, you're just at home all day," you need to consider what is the credibility of the source. Do you trust every person that has an opinion on everything? If you do, then you don't have agency. You don't have any critical thinking. You're not mature in your own mind to be able to determine what is credible and what isn't.
And you become enslaved.
Yes, but then you're a slave to everyone's opinions.
Yes.
Now, yeah, cancel me again. But how many women are slave to everyone's opinions? More than men, right? Men are also doing that, right? But pervasively, it is more pervasive for women, which is why majority of the vanity products are directed at women.
True.
They've been trying to make inroads with vanity products for men for years now. It's not getting the traction that they expected.
No.
There are men who are subscribing to it.
Yeah. The metrosexual male. Yeah.
But the majority of men, they don't take to it, right? They're not looking for all the skin conditioners and all the nail
Anti-aging.
polishings and the manicures and pedicures and all of those things, right? Because it's just not in their nature to be that polished. Women, on the other hand, are very different. They take to those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Right? So, on the one hand, there's nothing wrong with doing it, because if that's how you take care of yourself, no problem. But if you're taking care of yourself like that because you want someone else to admire you, another woman, because I get it, women don't dress up for other men. In the same way that men don't rev the cars at, at the intersection because they want to attract a woman, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, horses for causes, right?
Yeah.
But if you are doing what you're doing because of what you want someone else to think of you, or how you want them to admire you, how you want to prove you better than someone else, or how you're the same as someone else that is famous or being hero worshipped, then you've lost yourself.
And I think that's very important for women to understand, is that, you become enslaved by people and you don't actually evaluate the source. Why? Why do you want to prove that person right or wrong about you? Why do you want to outdo the expectation of you? Why do you want to even meet it in the first place? Why does self-esteem play the role, like how you feel about yourself, your sense of self-worth? Because, I mean, as you say, men don't care. Women care. I once even said to my husband, because, we would go, and, there's a specific pharmacy women love. And when you walk in there, your ancestors talk to you. And then you're just like, yeah, I need that. I want to need that,
Yeah.
And there we go. And I'll ask my husband, what do you need? And he's like, I just need shower gel, like 1 bottle.
That's it.
And I'm like, wow.
It's a 5-in-1.
Everything. And he's like, yes. And I'll be like horrified. Like, you use that on your face? And he's
Yeah,
like,
you can
yes.
put it in the pump bottle for me. I'll even wash my hands with
Exactly.
it.
Oh my word. I'm like, wow, this is like revolutionary for me. And he's like, yeah, and it will last him. And I'm like, I don't even understand how you do that, because I've got tools. Yeah, So
I've got this whole elaborate setup. I need my own space.
Yes.
I need a whole countertop.
And that's it. And one thing he said to me is, how do you know that they're not putting the same product in 4 different bottles and labeling it differently for you?
Exactly.
And I was like, I don't want to talk to you. Don't talk to me about, you know nothing about beauty products, but like, that's just the thing, is that we are constantly being told, do this to feel like that, use this to look like that. Do you want to, and that's the power of influence.
And the influence over what? Right? Is that a vanity product can only be successful if you have an insecurity that it meets.
Yes.
Right? If you don't have an insecurity, you don't need the vanity product. And this is where it gets really interesting for me, because your insecurities determine your physical state more than anything else.
Mm.
The more insecure you are, the more you're going to have skin problems and all sorts of things, because that's the duress that your body experiences because of insecurities. And then you're going to need products to compensate for that, because you're not focusing on the right thing. So your self-esteem, central to everything about being human, central to everything about how it is that you show up for the people around you, how it is that you receive feedback or criticism from the people around you. Self-esteem. And it's self-esteem, not social esteem.
I love that.
Self-esteem, it's what you think of yourself. It's not what you think others think of you. That's social esteem.
There's a saying that I read that says, I am not what you think of me. I am not what I think of me. I am what I think you think of me.
Yeah, exactly.
So I feel that's so apt.
Right. And that's where your mindfulness, your presence, your sense of self comes in, right? You can worry about what other people think of you, no problem, as long as you've got a good reason for it, not just because you want them to like you or you want them to admire you or think you're all that.
Yeah. It's
that if you look up to role models, and the problem is most of us don't have healthy role models. We don't choose healthy role models. I want to correct that. It's not that we don't have it.
We don't choose it.
We don't choose the right ones, right? Because we choose the ones that have bling and have show and have pomp and splendor and all of this social trinkets about them, right? So if you don't choose healthy role models, then you're going to hold yourself to a standard that is unhealthy for you.
True.
Right? So when you look up to others, understand why you're looking up to them. Are you looking up to them because, oh no, they're so beautiful? Okay, by whose standard, and what's the quality of their life compared to yours? Because I've seen many stories of women who they themselves will say like, yeah, maybe I'm neglecting myself because I don't have the right manicures and I don't have all the products and I don't do all of the right regimens and all of that. But I wouldn't exchange it for anything because of the fulfillment I get from what I do with my family, with my kids, with my husband, whatever, right? And that's the thing, is what is valuable to you. And if you don't have a clear understanding of what's valuable to you about life, not about appearance and about social validation and aesthetics, about life itself, then you are going to cause a lot of problems and a lot of hurt and a lot of pain without realizing it.
And the thing is that you don't often, like if you look at how women right now, you look at your phone camera, for example, and you put on a filter, and you're like, wow, this is actually me. And it's scary because when you show people that picture, that's what they expect to meet in person, and then you get blown away because wow. And I actually read the study of a plastic surgeon who said people bring their phones to me with a picture that they've taken of themselves with a particular filter, and they say, I want to look like this. So that's generating a whole other kind of income for the beauty industry, and the main target is women. He said it's mostly women.
Right. So I'm not just being a misogynist, or I'm not just being anti-feminist or anything. It is a big problem, right? And for me, the thing has always been that if you need to put a filter up before you show yourself on social media or in public, and same thing goes with cosmetics, how far you go is what determines how acceptable you are in your natural state, right? So if you only put yourself up on social media with filters, then it means you actually don't like yourself. You don't like the way you look. You don't value or appreciate the markings of life that have taken shape on how you appear. So if you're not at peace with yourself, it is impossible for you to be at peace with anyone around you or with life itself. Impossible.
And they say you're not a girl's girl. You know, you have, there's all these sayings. I know you hate them, right? You're not a girl's girl. I'm an independent woman. I don't need no man. You know, there are these, and then they show the woman literally with the bonnet open, pouring cooking oil instead of proper oil into the car. And she's like, I'm an independent woman. And men are going,
Yeah, let's see for how long.
So it is, you know. How do we strike the balance?
What does independence look like? Are you independent if you have to go about proclaiming your independence? No. Are you confident if you have to remind people about how confident you are? No. You just are, right? And that's the thing. Confidence is quiet. It's not loud.
Yeah.
Self-esteem is quiet. It's not loud. The louder you live, the less your self-respect. I'll repeat that because people challenge me about this when I post it online as well.
Mm-hmm.
The louder you live, the more loud you are in the way you live, the big brands and the big cars and the big house and everything must be so flashy and bling and the aesthetic and all of that, the less self-respect you have.
Why do you say that?
Because all of that is focused on how you want to be perceived, how you want people to see you. It's not focused on quality of life. Quality of life and standard of living are two very different things. Most people still don't get it. Your standard of living, that's the loud life, the lifestyle, the exotic holidays and the aesthetic. That's standard of living. Quality of life is how you feel when you're in that space. Are you surrounded by people that you actually get and that get you? That has social cohesion, that has bonds of affection and understanding? Do you have something that money can't pay for? Do you do things for people that they can't outsource? Do you show up in someone's life in a way that makes it impossible for them to replace you?
Yeah, it just makes me think. Every time you go onto social media, you see people going, gave out 35 food parcels to these underprivileged homes and, day well spent.
No, that's a day of virtue signaling and you're transacting your virtues for social credits. Charity is not something you put online. And with the, let me just say it. With the volume of charity organizations we have, you cannot tell me that there is a genuine need they're looking to fulfill if there's already 1,000 charity organizations that have 1,000 logistics teams and networks and capabilities and administration staff that could just scale instead of starting up yet another charity organization. It's all vanity.
Very sad. Very sad.
And now you look at that and you look at how it is that this virtue signaling, I don't like these terms, but this one is so prevalent. How we need to tell people how good we are and we need to show them how good we are because we want to influence them to be good. No. Just no. If you have to put your stuff on online, then why are you doing it?
And the thing is that it compromises the integrity of the person, the receiver.
Who cares about the dignity of the one who's receiving? And if you don't see it as that and you think that, no, it's a legitimate kind of promotion or awareness that we need to raise so that we can get the funds and all of that. No, I can tell you without a doubt, both in the Muslim and non-Muslim community in South Africa, in the Indian community, in the brown community, in the non-white community, we've got mega wealth that can solve all our problems. There's no need for us to have to go online and try and solicit this. It's about us having better social cohesion in the way we shop for each other in a genuine way that will allow us to be able to make that wealth available to uplift.
It's so important that we actually highlight this because the thing that you are trying to portray out there is,
It's counterproductive.
It's not. And the thing is that people say, if you are judging this, you're jealous or you're not, you should look at your own blessings. Like, that's the thing about social media, is this is when the keyboard warriors get angry and say, you're just jealous. Watch your own page.
Okay, let's assume we are jealous. What are we jealous about? The fact that we couldn't go and give out 35 food hampers and put it on social media. Nah, there's something wrong with this picture. And as much as we're supposed to be talking about women today, right, all of this talks to that nurturing spirit.
Yes.
Right? It talks to how it is that we show up as humans, because the one thing that men will never, ever appreciate or understand is the kind of connection that women have with another human, because we'll never know what it's like to carry life within us. So
that's powerful.
We need to understand and appreciate that there are differences that will never ever be overcome. No matter how fancy we get with our ability to manipulate the genome and everything else, even if you can get a man physically pregnant, it's not going to be the same experience because his disposition is not going to be the same.
That's a very, very powerful statement. We're going to go in for a short ad break, and when we come back, more with Coach Zaid. Please WhatsApp us on 077-280-4792. What are your opinions? We are talking about the role of women in society. You're listening to East Wave FM. This is Zach Knight with Nakare. And of course, we are on the chat network. We've got Coach Zaid in the house. And of course, we're talking about the role of women in society. And so far, we did not expect that it should take the turns it has, but it has. So we're going to go with it. And I was just saying to you, Zaid, that if I looked at the generations, my grandmother, my mother's generation, and my generation, our current generation, and I can definitely see the gaps, the things, their insecurities that were mirrored onto us, and then us adopting that as I will never be treated like that, you know, and then your mom saying to you, you see, you go and work so nobody can tell you what to do, and then you like internalize that, and that becomes your fight or flight. Like, I've got to work, I've got to be independent, I've got to provide, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. And how does that sound to you?
It sounds like a very jaundiced, very distorted view of what the previous generations experienced.
Yeah.
If we only focus on the problems of the previous generation, then my question is, where did we develop all our capability from? Where did that wisdom come from? Where did we get the wisdom to be able to determine what is good or what is bad in the first place? Did we just show up? So we're always quick to criticize the previous generations, and sometimes rightfully so. But we can't do that only. We also got to look at what worked. What benefit did they have? We always talk about the quality of marriages back then and how it lasted so much longer and all of that, but we're not willing to consider what made it last so long. We look at quality of life and we think things were so simple and people had so much more joy, and there was so much more like outdoor living and things like that, and we look at it and we think, yeah, well, how did it happen? We don't know, because we only focus on everything that was wrong. So, you know, one of the things that are often said is like, you know, a woman needs to be independent because, you know, men are like this and men are like that.
Oof.
When do we stop to consider which men are like this and which men are like that, right? Because, like I alluded to earlier on in our conversation, what's the credibility of the source? So if you see someone in your family, say your mother, your grandmother, or whatever, was treated badly by the man they were with, right? And you think the only reason they're treated that way is because, look, they're always saying, like, you don't even work, you don't know what it's like to have a job and all of that. And that's why they treated them badly. So that means that you have to work to be respected by your partner. No. A man who diminishes the value of the contribution that his partner, his wife, brings into the home and creates for him to be able to wake up in the morning and have what he needs to be able to go out and earn what he needs to earn so that he can come home to a home, not just to some square block or room that is empty. The man who diminishes that, he's not a man, he's a boy. Now you're looking at the opinion of a boy on your grandmother or your mother, if that was your frame of reference, and you're taking that and turning it into life advice.
That's very powerful. And there's a lot of people, a lot of females who actually, their mothers said this to them, that you must not put yourself in a position to be dependent on a man.
Yes, but then what's the point of marriage? If you're not going to be healthy, codependent on each other, healthy codependence, that's what marriage is about. That's what any relationship is about. It's a healthy codependence. If you want to be independent, go and find your island and live alone. And then you'll discover why they say no man is an island.
You know, it's just so surreal because that's the tagline now, is that I'm independent.
Independent from what?
Know,
from whom?
And people are like, you should build yourself up so that even if he leaves, I've seen this play out in couples where the family says, okay, fine. What are you doing? You have your degree. You have a good job. As a female, we have put you through university, and then you go and you want to marry a blue collar somebody who doesn't have a degree, right? And I've seen families do this. The only way you know we're gonna feel comfortable with this is if you actually have a savings account, and we are knowledgeable of this, and you are saving in case things go south.
Planning for your family unit is different to needing to protect yourself from the mistrust that you have for your partner. You're solving the wrong problem.
Yeah.
If you don't trust your partner to have your back, then solve that problem. Don't mitigated by becoming even more independent so that you diminish the trust even further. Solve the right problem.
Yeah.
If you have a misunderstanding about what independence should look like or what codependence should look like, what's healthy and what's unhealthy, then sort that problem out. Find a way to reach a meeting of the minds and an understanding of seeing who's got more value in their perspective about how that works.
Mm-hmm.
Don't turn it into a new problem that you're creating and then you didn't solve the original problem, and then because your new problem kind of mitigates the outcome of the previous problem, you think, you see, it's a good thing I did. Meanwhile, you created the problem, and now you got a solution for a problem you created, and you're feeling good about it.
Do you understand why this man makes us feel crazy?
But it doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't make sense to me. Like we create self-fulfilling prophecies, and then the solutions that we thought we needed in case of that prophecy coming true, when that whole becomes our crutch and we can actually support ourselves because of it, we convince ourselves that we were right to have that solution in the first place. Meanwhile, creating that solution, that independence and everything else, eroded the very relationship that we thought we were going to be rejected from.
Yes, down with the patriarchy. And it all made sense.
And down with the matriarchy as well, and with the misogyny. Come on.
What gets lost? What gets lost in the mix of career ambitions, domestic expectations? What gets lost in between all this? Because you can be grinding 8 to 5, you working, you that career woman. But when you get home, you must still cook, you must still, and run a household, homework, whatnot. What gets lost in between all this?
Life. Life is what's lost. All of those things you mentioned are means to an end. What's the end? Death? No. Death is not the end. Death is the end of life, yes. But where's life in all of that? I don't know. Make it make sense to me, because this doesn't make sense to me. I feel stupid when I don't have these discussions, because everyone is chasing, and I'm wondering, what are you running from?
Yeah.
What are you running to? What about where you are? What are you doing with that? Why is it that everyone else's opinions are so important to you? Why is it that your opinion of yourself and what you have right now in your life is not even fully formed? You don't even have enough presence of mind about what you have in your life that you assume that you don't have.
And in that race, everything is lost. Everything meaningful is lost.
Yes.
In an effort to achieve the tokens, as you put it.
Yes.
To give people the perception that I am living the successful life.
Yeah.
I meet the criteria, so now am I accepted? Will you accept me now? Will you press like? Will you, will you reshare? Will you ask me, oh, very nice, where were you? Where's this?
And then how does it play out in your relationship with your partner? You test them to see if they're acknowledging you the way you're supposed to be acknowledged because of your accomplishment.
Yeah. It's crazy. There's actually been a real argument over you don't post me. And it comes from females. Why don't you post me on your social media? Why don't you? Is it you don't want people to know? It's
Why do you want to be known beyond your relationship with your partner?
But these are, as you say, it's crazy that we have to bring this up, but these are legitimate issues that are brought up by women, that the reason why I am suspicious is because he does not post me on his social media.
And that tells you how it is that we're creating new problems, we're not solving any existing problems. So going onto social media, what problem did that solve for you? Posting about your personal life on social media, what problem did that solve for you? Did it suddenly make you connect with a long-lost family that otherwise wouldn't have access to you? Most likely not. Because even if that is true, that would become like maybe 1% of the people you're interacting with on social media. So what problem are you solving by putting yourself out there on social media?
What is it that women should understand? That men basically are simple creatures, right? Because they say if you dress like this is the kind of attention you will get. If you use this product, this is how you should feel and therefore more attractive. What is it that women should know about themselves?
Men are drawn towards a woman who gives them a sense of peace. And a man who is chasing a woman because of the aesthetic is not a fully formed adult. So someone who's still chasing someone in high heels and a skirt, right? They're still operating from their groin, not from their head. That's not a fully formed adult. Someone with self-respect, someone who is mature, someone who has purpose in life, is not looking just for intimate fulfillment. They're looking for creating a life together. A life. Not an exotic holiday, not trinkets and trophies and tokens that people are going to celebrate and look up to and wish they had the same and trying to keep up with the Joneses. Creating a life. What does that even look like? Most people don't even know what that looks like unless they're relating it to what other people have. A career, a house in the right neighborhood, their children going to the right schools, and their cars being the right brand, and their clothing being the right tailor-made outfits from whoever. Most people don't know what life looks like. They only know what aesthetic looks like. And that's the problem. That's sad. And in that regard, I blame women. Because women are the nurturers. They're the ones that give you that sense of belonging, that sense of self. Men are the problem solvers. They'll take that sense of self and turn it into something practical. We've lost that balance.
Do you think we've lost the wisdom of the ages?
If I look at the kind of stupidity we've got going around us at the moment, I think that's a resounding yes.
I think that says it all. You know,
we've got adults competing with teenagers, or sometimes even less than teenagers, teenagers, for viral trends and things like that. Come on. Where's the wisdom in that?
No, we see that. We see that. Reverse aging. People want to look younger than their daughters. Or
people want to be their children's friends.
The cool mom. Yes. What's the problem with being the cool mom?
Then who's being the full-time mom? Who's being the nurturer? Who's being the sage? Who's being the one that's establishing the values while you're being cool? And being cool, what determines whether you're the cool mom? Is it because your teenage daughters think you're cool? Well, if there's no substance behind it, you've got a problem. Is it because other people are going to look at you and think, well, oh my, she's got so many children and look, she's still so young and she still carries herself so well. What's your standard? What do you hold yourself to? What do you value? What do you believe is important? Because that's what you're teaching your children. And then when they grow up and they don't value what you value because they didn't actually connect with it because you were too busy being aesthetic about it, you're going to think like, where did we go wrong?
And that's a shallow relationship, right?
It is, because what happens when they move out of the house? Then, hey, it's time for them. Their life, they must go and live it now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so cool. They go and live their life. And then beyond empty nest syndrome comes retirement village. And what happens to the family unit? What happens to social bonds? What happens to generational wisdom, generational wealth? What happens to just having those amazing bonds that are supposed to be held across 2, 3, 4 generations? It's gone.
And you know, now that you say that, when I think about it, my grandmother worked and she ran a house. She had 7 children. And I mean, she worked. She held her home together, but she did not make it a crusade.
Was it a chore?
No.
It was something she took joy and fulfillment from, right?
Yeah. It's like you said, it's the interpretation of the role that's changed. I mean, if I think about it, she was totally empowered.
What is your connection with your role that you have to play?
Yeah.
And if you see it as responsibility and a burden and all of these things and sacrifice, then you're missing the point.
How true. And I mean, how present are you? How happy? How fulfilled are you? But then your social media is there saying, you know, holiday, car, look what I bought, and you look fulfilled. But you can't find those people are knocking on the therapist's door. I have no sense of purpose.
And they must do that in the most absolute secrecy because, you know, if people know I'm in therapy, then like, what are they going to think of me?
Yeah.
So you're ashamed of yourself. You're ashamed of what it is that you need to help yourself with. And you're ashamed of how it is that you show up without a filter. So what are you proud about?
What are you proud about?
And that pride mustn't be related to what you think others think of you.
Yeah. I also want to go back to going toe-to-toe with males. I don't think we were ever meant to.
What's the point?
It's exasperating. In my personal opinion, it is exasperating because even biologically, we are different. We were meant to be different. And it's that men are from Mars, women are from Venus that strikes the perfect balance.
Yeah. You complement each other. You don't
Yes.
compete with each other.
Very, very true. I always say that. I always say you complement each other. It's when we compete that we have a problem.
And then you need to complete each other.
Today you have sufficiently made me feel crazy, and a lot of our listeners too, I'm sure. Because it's not a competition.
It's not. Why are you competing with the person you're with?
Why would someone be competing with the person that they are with?
Low self-esteem. They're testing them all the time to see if they are actually appreciating you.
Yeah.
So you keep testing the people around you when you have low self-esteem, because you need to check whether they actually appreciate you, whether they notice you, whether they acknowledge you, and all of those things.
Yeah. I'm actually thinking, I don't know if it's off topic, but I witnessed, we all witnessed things that our moms did that was just legendary, you know. And I remember a time when my dad would say, she was the Minister of Finance, right? So she would keep the money under the mattress. And here we go. He would say, you owe me $50. She would take his $50, go to him, be like, oh, sure, I'll pay you back. And she would give him his 50 rand. And he would be so satisfied. And later that evening, she'd be like, I got my 50 back. And she'd be like, I need 50 rand for masala. And he'd be like, okay, here's the 50 rand. Not knowing he's a part of an elaborate scheme. So females have designed, psychologically and otherwise, the most elaborate schemes. So yeah, that's something that I've witnessed that was just legendary. Only a woman can pull that off. But yes, Coach Zaid, what is your parting message to our females today, to our women listening, about their roles in society and their value?
If you are competing with what you think society says about the value of women, then you're losing the plot. Like, who are you? What do you stand for? And what is it that you want to have as impact about who you are? Not about what it is that you have or what you need to accomplish and all of that. There's certain things you need to accomplish because it equips you to achieve a greater outcome. Don't look at what equips you for the greater outcome and turn that into your entire focus of your being.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to have a job, what problem is it solving?
Yeah.
If you want to be independent, why do you ever need to be independent? Why do you not have healthy codependence? And healthy codependence is what makes relationships amazing.
Yeah.
It's when you know you have each other's back. You know you've got someone that you can fall back on. You know you've got someone who's going to be there for you when you're having a bad day. You know you've got someone who's going to be excited about something that's important to you because they understand why it's important to you. All of that, we've lost that because now everyone is like, okay, no, that's your thing and this is my thing, and like,
yeah,
we need to find something that we need to do together. Oh, I know. Date night.
Yeah. The 5 love language quiz. Come sit.
Please.
Answer these questions. What does trauma, childhood trauma, how does that play out in the way you would see yourself?
Childhood trauma, if it was genuinely trauma and not just an unpleasant experience, is what you take from it, how you believe it defines you. And I came across something on my FB memories recently. Yes, I still use FB, I'm old. Leave me alone. And it was a story about, I think it's a Tunisian man, if I'm not mistaken, who was, as a child, he was either orphaned or abandoned or something, but something happened that he had to make his own way in life. And he trekked across the desert and he found his way and he pushed himself to learn things and everything in informal ways. And he ended up becoming Minister of Parliament, if I'm not mistaken, in France. You can look at your childhood and you can say it was traumatic. Cool. No one can tell you whether it was or it wasn't because it's your take on it, right? But if you're traumatized about it long after the event has already passed, it's because of what you're holding on to it.
Yeah.
It's not about what it actually was about.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between people who rise above their struggles versus people who become defined by their struggles.
Yeah.
And if you want to become defined by your struggle, understand there's a cost for that.
Yeah.
Right? It's not for me to tell you whether you should or you shouldn't. But there's a cost for every choice we make in life. And if you don't appreciate that cost, you're going to find out about it at the wrong time, much later in life, and then the regret sets in. And when the regret sets in, you can't do anything to undo the damage that you caused because of that cost that you didn't realize you were causing. It's too late. Then the bitterness sets in, then the chronic illness sets in, and then you wait with trepidation for the final moments.
Wow. I must say that today, talking about the role of woman, we do not get bashed, and we do not bash you, but it's been such pearls of wisdom that we've gotten. And we have to take all of these things into consideration. Our past, what we've been exposed to, how it influences who we are today, and then what we surround ourselves with in terms of the information that we are absorbing and observing. And not everything observed needs to be absorbed, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Choose more deliberately, more consciously what it is that you're subscribing to. What is it that you're choosing for yourself?
Yeah.
If you're not doing that, then you're just following.
Yeah.
You're not living your life with purpose.
Absolutely. Coach Zaid, it has been such a pleasure. And we again thank you. We've got some messages coming through. People have said thank you so much for bringing so much of energy to the airwaves. Loving it. And Zaid was talking to me.
I hope it was a good conversation for you.
Listen, Seri was a long time ago. I was looping. It's Zaid. So, yes, this is from Asma. Asma says, Zaid was talking to me. We've got Sanam saying, thank you so much for today's topic. It's everything I needed to hear. Please, can we have 1 more hour? I hope our managers are listening. So Coach Zaid, Jazakallah khair, thank you so much. We hope your Ramadan is going well, and that you reap the benefits and the rewards of everything that is left of this holy month. And we look forward to seeing you next week, Wednesday.
Alhamdulillah. I mean, looking forward to it as well. And let's see if we can have another heavy topic next week.
Yeah, maybe next week we talk about something else like unicorns and rainbows, because today was deep.
Yeah, unexpectedly deep, but I enjoyed it thoroughly. Alhamdulillah. Thank you for the opportunity as always.
It is such a pleasure, and we just want to raise awareness, right? It's not that complicated. We unpack, we talk. And you are free to WhatsApp us on 077-280-4792. This has been the Chat Network with myself, Nazia, and our esteemed guest, Coach Zaid Ismail. And you are on 92.2 East Wave FM. Stay tuned for news at the top of the hour.